I keep seeing all these lists for the top quarterbacks, and Byron Brown's just not on it, and I think he should be.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Mike G of the War Report hanging out with us for a few minutes today. Hope all is well, my friend. What portal players aren't getting enough love? You actually put out a top 5 list, and I want to ask you more questions about as far as portal additions. That's coming up, but it's list season, and every time, Mike G, I see somebody put a top 10 quarterback list on there, I keep expecting to see Byron Brown as I compare him to some of the names that are making it, and I'm a little surprised by it, if I'm going to be 100% honest, because I think if there was any other situation where there was a player who passed for 3,000 yards in a season and ran for 1,000 yards in a season, I just feel like 9 other times out of the 10, there would be more traction, more love, more attention there.
I couldn't agree more. Look, we recently did a segment on the top returning QBs in the SEC.
Yeah.
Right. And the question that we asked was, what new situation is happening that's a better fit than Byron Brown and Alex Golesh this year in the SEC? And I mean, it's hard. Like, he got his guy. He got his guy. He got a guy who is definitely knows the system, should be able to hit the ground running, and they believe in him. So, like, you know, Ole Miss, there's a lot of uncertainty in the SEC at QB this year, Zach.
Yeah,
a lot of are changing guys. So you look at, you know, of the top 5 passers in yards, only 1 returns, and that's Marcel Reed. Everybody else is gone, assuming that Trinidad Chambliss is not going to get a magical other year of eligibility.
Well, I think he'll come back, and, you know, about an hour before we sat down to record this, it looks like Joey Aguilar can return to Tennessee. So, like, I think that is interesting. That makes that game certainly a little bit more difficult as we go to Knoxville this year. But I think Arch Manning is in a pretty good situation. Obviously, you know, the addition of some of the guys that they brought in, and, you know, him being as a returner, getting better over the course of the season. But I mean, you mentioned Marcel Reed. Like, funny enough, like, his situation's worse, I think. I mean, he lost some guys that he was throwing to. I think Craver's returning, but, you know, they lost the Concepcion Recepcion. And so, you know, we'll see what kind of impact that had. And that was an offense that struggled anyway. I mean, I don't think anybody watched Texas A&M lose to Miami in the playoff game and thought, yeah, they're going to be great on offense next year. A lot can change, obviously, but that is interesting. That's the name that's like the returner as far as like leading passing yards.
I mean, Gunnar Stockton, is he going to be the dude in the SEC next year? Lenore Sellers, I have zero faith in Beamer. You know, and you mentioned Aguilar and his uncertainty in terms of what's going on there. Kamario Taylor at Mississippi State. Like, there's some very interesting. I mean, but Alabama's in flux, right? Like, Florida, what are they going to do there? I think Auburn is sneaky set up here to just kind of fly under the radar. You got a G5 guy who's transferring in, and Byrum Brown is an extremely physically talented QB. And I mean, we've seen it. We've seen guys make the jump from the American to these bigger conferences and do very well. I think that he's in a good situation where he'll be able to hit the ground running. There's no learning curve this spring in terms of learning system and all that stuff. They should be able to kind of jump ahead to more advanced offensive concepts in year 1.
Yeah, I think so too. I saw a graph, or a chart, might be more accurate, of like returning production, and Auburn's pretty low with returning production because they lost so much. But it's such a tricky thing because it's like, well,
they were low on production, period.
They were low on production, period. That's a great point that I wasn't going to bring up, but that's super, super important in this. But also, a lot of these players, these key players that are going to hopefully lead to production, are playing for the same head coach, the same position coach, the same offensive coordinator with the same quarterback. And that, like, you can't chart that as returning production for Auburn, but like you got to use some common sense and context when you look at some of these things.
I agree. Look, Alex Golesh is very bullish on his system. And, you know, I have gotten whispers of conversations that he's had with people asking him about his plan on offense, and he's been almost like, "Look, this is what we do.
Yeah,
this is what we do. Trust the process. This is what we do." When he got hired, he talked about having a process-driven program, Zach. And I think that if you don't have a signal caller, you're screwed. Did you hear about the conversation allegedly that Tommy Tuberville had with Hugh Freeze when he told him to go get Diego Pavia? And he told him, he said, if you don't have a quarterback, you're done.
Yeah.
Trigger man, go get this guy, right? The downfall of Hugh Freeze was the failure to be able to produce at that position. Alex Golesh is not going to let it happen to him. Let it happen to him in year one. As a matter of fact, what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to lay the foundation for which he's going to be able to go out and recruit and say, who's going to be the next Byron Brown and then some in our system? Come to Auburn. They've got enough resources to take the money off the table in terms of if they really like the guy, they can say, hey, look, we'll put a top QB deal on the table for you, so now we can talk football, right? Don't worry about the money. We'll take care of the money, right? We want to talk about how we're going to develop you. And you can do that here. Something that Auburn's been missing for a long time. Byron Brown might be one of the most important recruits in Auburn history, in modern day Auburn history, in terms of where this program goes from here. They've got to produce with this kid, man. They've got to find a way to make him a star in the SEC. I think they're going to do it. And I think a lot of people are going to sleep on Auburn early and be shocked when he comes out and he's running and he's passing and his guys are making plays.
And I love the ramp up too, because like, sure, it's not at home. There's been a lot of discussion about that, but the opening matchup with Baylor, I think, is such a prime opportunity to put Byrum on the map, to put the Auburn offense on the map, and just kind of say, hey, like, yeah, Baylor's Baylor, whatever. But you guys all loved this DJ Lagway guy a few years ago, and Byrum just had, hopefully, just stuffs them in a locker, right?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, hopefully the eye test between the two quarterbacks is it's very clear which one of them is better than the other one.
Zach, I know we got to move on, but one note here. Is there anything more satisfying than Byrum, I'm sorry, than Bryson Washington switching sides before this game? I love this. He said, you know what? I don't want to play with these bums. They came in our house and whooped our butts. I'll put on an Auburn jersey, and I'm going to return the favor to these guys. Look, man, a lot of bold proclamations were made before that game last year. I think this year you're going to see a chance to see an even better Auburn team versus Baylor. I mean, a lot of people got excited for what you saw, but let's be honest. It was a little one-sided with the run, right? They were heavy on the run, and they didn't show much in terms of the pass. Nothing in the pass game really developed until late in season. I think we see both early. I think we see both early against Baylor with Byron Brown at quarterback. The one thing that we know with this situation is bringing in Byron Brown opens up the entire playbook to Alex Golesh in year one, game one. He's going to run everything, man. He's going to run everything. He's going to unleash Auburn football here in year one.
Yeah, I think so too. And you talk about like a not as good Baylor team. Like, look at the line kind of dance back and forth between Auburn and Baylor going into it last year. Auburn opens as a 7.5-point favorite against Baylor, according to our friends at FanDuel this year. That's a big difference.
There's still I mean, look, I felt before that game, I called that game last year 38-21. Auburn ended up winning 38-24. I still think that there's a massive talent gap between Auburn and Baylor. And look, Lagway, DJ Lagway, he's not a bum at quarterback. But I think that there are a bunch of bums playing around him at Baylor. And I think that Byron Brown is not going to have a bunch of bums playing around him. He's going to have one of the most stocked running back rooms, I think. You know, I mean, we're talking about, we're going to talk about some other players here in a second. But, man, I think he's in a really good position to not have to be Superman as well, too, and save those Superman moments for when Auburn needs it the most.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, Mike G put out a list of top 5 portal additions. I've got a question about one of them specifically and why they're so high. That's next, right here on Locked on Auburn.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukelich and a huge advantage in the paint, staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match exactly what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is for you. If I were hiring right now, I wouldn't just want someone who can help. I would want someone with real experience who can jump right in and help us win right away. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you about Indeed, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Listeners of the show get $75 sponsored job credit to help you get the job, your job listing in premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Mike G of the War Report hanging out with us. You put out a list of your top 5 Auburn transfers. Obviously, Byron Brown leads the way, but go through that because I think it's number 3 that I've got a question on.
Yeah, obviously Byron Brown sits at the top. He will be the engine that makes Auburn's offense go this year. I had a recent conversation with John Cohen and about, again, what went wrong at Auburn last year. He said, Mike, let's be clear. It was one side of the ball. It was one side of the ball. Our guys on defense were developing. We were recruited well over there. We brought DJ back for a reason. Now you got Alex Golesh and his offensive staff in place. So it starts with Byron Brown. And then I think with who we saw leave in the portal, number 2 cannot not be Keyshawn Singleton.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, no issue with that. Yep.
Yeah, come on, man. This guy is going to be or should be his go-to receiver here. When Auburn needs a play through the air, I expect Keyshawn Singleton to be the guy that they looked for, like they looked for Cam Coleman at times. Force him the ball. These guys should have great chemistry, and he understands what Byron Brown wants, running his routes where he needs them to be. That's huge up for Auburn. Number 3 that you may take issue with is Nakai Davenport at running back.
Yeah, and this is the one this one's interesting.
Oh, yeah. So Auburn's running back room, I think, is extremely deep, right? Obviously, Jeremiah Cobb deciding to return is huge. You bring in Bryson Washington from Baylor. You've got Tay Meadows, who has joined this room as well. And then you've got Nakai Davenport, who, you just did an Indeed ad read. I was looking at Nakai Davenport's Indeed, and on his resume is 600 yards rushing, man, in a system where, let's be clear, like he split carries with another running back in that system last year. Byron Brown got a majority of the carries. So their top two running backs, if you total up their carries, essentially they split them. They still fall like 10 or 15 carries short of what Byron Brown took, 175 carries last season.
Yeah,
so,
Davenport had 98 carries. Sam Franklin had 80, and then Alvin Isaac, another running back, had 73.
70, yeah, right. Like, so, obviously Byron Brown got the huge majority of the carries there in the run game. But in year one, because of the pivot that they had to do due to retention, I think that Alex Golesh leans on his guys a lot in year one. He's got to get through this first year, and he's got to show some real proof of concept offensively. This is why I think Nakai Davenport plays a role. I think he's going to play a role. I've talked to some of the staff members there. Look, obviously Jeremiah Cobb's going to lead that room. Who comes in after him is a big question. Look how deep Auburn had to go down the running back room last year.
Yeah.
Man, they went deep down. So, like, I have a number 3 on this list. I think right now he's number 3 in that room, but I think they're going to need him. I think they're going to need him come midseason. If a guy gets hurt, I mean, when was the last season, man, where a lead back didn't get hurt for a significant portion of the season?
Seems like it's been a thing for sure.
Yeah, they're going to need him. I'm telling you, they're going to need him.
Yeah. I don't want to downplay Davenport. I just don't know if I'd put him at 3, like the 3rd ranked transfer. But I do like. I think Washington is a more impactful transfer. It's even at running back than Davenport. Once again, I'm not saying I don't like Davenport. I think he has a role, and I think he'll have a larger role even in 2027. But I don't know. I was just surprised that you had him that high, which is good for conversation, and also a testament for what you said, how deep this running back room is. And I've said this before. I said it earlier this week. Might have been yesterday's show, Mike, where I think this staff did a really nice job at balancing guys who can help you right away and guys who can help you in 2027 and maybe.
Yeah, they did.
And Davenport can help you this year. He also can help you next year. Regardless of what he's asked to do, he makes the running back room better in both years, unless he were to leave, which doesn't really make sense in this context. And to me, you can't fault that at all.
Yeah, I think Bryson Washington is clearly the more experienced running back. So experience is going to be key here, I think, in year 1. But where he closes the gap on Washington, Davenport is again, knowledge of system and expectations. Yep. And I don't think that can be overstated. Like they expect a competition at most positions. And talking to these guys, they said, look, man, best player is going to play, Mike. Best player is going to play. And so, Davenport's a guy that's hungry. He's got multiple years left. And I don't want anybody to fall into he's got 2 years left and Bryson only has 1 year left, so he's going to play. No. I'm telling you, just forget that with this staff. They're not buying into that. They're saying, hey, look, best player plays, period. Go earn it on the practice field. Go earn it in the spring, and we'll put you on the field. But they're going to have to go deep into the running back room. I loved what Alex Golesh said when he got hired. He said, we're going to run the freaking football, man. We're going to run it. Yes, please run the ball, man. So, I had to warm up to Davenport. I didn't start here. I had to warm up to him. The more interviews I did and the more people I talked to, the more I'm convinced that this guy's going to play a significant role in this offense. So he has a chance to make a real impact. Yeah,
then it's like, well, what happens with Omar Mapson? Who I'm so high on Omar Mapson, but it's just like, it's so deep. There's going to be people that don't play.
Yeah. And did it hurt you? Did it hurt you when the missed pass that led to the interception for Omar? Like, you get your shot. Like, I mean, look, man, he's not the reason they lost that game, but you just don't want your name to be associated with that play.
No, and a game that you knew you needed so many things to go the right way, and for that to be the thing that doesn't go the right way, it's like, dang it.
It hurt. I heard for Omar, man. He's so talented.
Yeah, and he's been so willing, such a team guy. Like
Jeremiah and Damari raved to me about Omar. Those guys are like, Mike, don't sleep on Omar. He's extremely talented. And, unfortunately, unless you are one of the guys who they've invested a bunch of, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in, your margin for error is so short. And this is part of what I hate about NIL. There is going to be a lean toward the guys who got the money. Right?
Yeah, you see that in the pros too. It's like if you're the one who got the big contract, or if you're a first-round draft pick, you're going to have more opportunities than others.
Yeah, you're going to play. And the guys writing the checks, they want to see the guys they wrote the checks for produce.
That's right.
Period. Otherwise, what am I writing you checks for?
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. You can say that you don't like it, and like I don't think we like it, but that is how it is. Yeah. So, cool, awesome. Mike G, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Before we get out of here, I do want to say 4 and 5 on my list were safety Fred Gaskin and wide receiver Jeremiah Coger. I think those guys have a chance also to contribute here. So
his name is Fred Gaskin.
Fred Gaskin. Fred Gaskin. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. There's so many. This is going to be a fun spring, Zach. I think. And I hope that the spring game means something, is impactful. I think we had 3 bum spring games under threes.
Yeah, I don't know if the spring will matter, but I do think the spring game could show us pecking order a little bit more because you don't have to worry about guys leaving after the fact. But I mean, you talk about competition. There's competition at running back, competition for market share at receiver.
Should be
tight
fun.
end, I have no clue what they're going to do. Offensive line, there's like 8 different options they could go with at O-line. D-line, I think it's kind of clear what they're going to do, but still market share is going to be important. Edge, like you just don't have enough options because you don't have enough guys in that room, in my opinion. Linebacker, you probably know what you're going to do there. DB is insane. They could do anything in the defensive back room. So I'm with you. This spring is going to be awesome.
Look, it's going to be fun to watch our starting quarterback actually throw the ball in the spring game. I mean, I want to see Byron Brown throw the ball. I don't need to see him running around or doing anything. Just let us see him use his arms to complete passes. That's it. We don't need to see the system. Let's just watch some pitch and catch on A-Day, man. I think that would be fun. And what an opportunity for fans here and for Golesh to just show these guys off a little bit, man, and build some excitement headed in here. One of the reasons why he's excited about coaching is that despite losing, Auburn's selling out home games, man. This fan base deserves to have a spring game that means something. And I stand by that. I'm very pro-fan when it comes to this conversation, man. We've been gypped. We've been gypped the last few years. We've given our heart, our soul. We've cheered our butts off. We've given our money. We've done segments. We've done everything we can to support this program. And we've been given losing seasons and underperforming 4- and 5-star players. Right. Golesh is here to give back a little ROI on the investment that these fans have made into this program.
Well said, Mike G. Well said. Hey, please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.